The allegations. The allegations that they've been accused of are some of the worst allegations in the world. Put a target on their back for them to get stabbed, jumped, murdered, whatever it is, and get stabbed or beaten half to death tomorrow, it will be because this is the way it went down. And it's
Andrew Tate's lawyer is now claiming that Tate could be seriously attacked inside jail, not because somebody has already reached him, but because every inmate around him apparently knows exactly what he's accused of. Tate is currently being held in what his lawyers describe as solitary confinement, inside a cell reportedly measured only 5 feet by 12, and here's the bizarre part. His team says the isolation is destroying him, while also admitting that putting him around the general prison population could be far more dangerous. So the safest place for Andrew Tate right now might genuinely be the exact unit his lawyer is calling punishment, and Tate is already using all this to push the same explanation he gives for everything. The Matrix is trying to break him.
Those types of allegations, SA allegations, sexual assault, and anytime you involve a child, let me tell you right now, that doesn't play well for anyone politically in jail. So it's got nothing to do with their ability to defend themselves or this or that. It's got to do with the fact that they put a target on their back for them to get stabbed, jumped, murdered, whatever it is in jail, because that is how jail politics and that is how jail gangs and how the jail economy works. There's a pecking order in jail. It's very real. And when you come in with those allegations, there's no excuses. It's your paperwork says this, therefore you're up for murder. You're fair game. You're fair game. And every time the public says Andrew and Tristan are just like Epstein, well, guess what? The public is greenlighting for them to get murdered in jail. These allegations against them are the worst for a multitude of reasons. And it's one of the reasons why they're in solitary. We hope to get them out. Look, the people over here in the system, the guards at the jail, they've been great. They've been fair to us. I've been in jails and places all around the world, and we've been treated honorably here. They have to carry out their...
Tate's lawyer, Joseph McBride, says the brothers' paperwork has effectively placed targets on their backs, and for once this isn't some completely ridiculous argument. People inside jail do not wait for a YouTube documentary before forming an opinion about someone. They hear the allegations, they see the charges, and Tate's own lawyer says that creates an immediate safety problem, but that also exposes the contradiction in his defense. His team wants us to believe Tate is being unfairly buried inside isolation, while simultaneously telling us he could be attacked if officials moved him somewhere else less restricted. Bro, choose one. Either the unit serves no legitimate purpose, or it's currently separating Tate from the people his own lawyer says might target him. It can still be miserable, it can still damage someone mentally, but protecting a detainee from his known safety risk is not automatically evidence of political persecution.
To carry out their instructions, their orders, their duty. But that doesn't take away from the fact that every time somebody walks by their cell, they get called something, a word that starts with a P that's more appropriate to Epstein and not appropriate to them. And because of that, they have a target on their back that's very, very real. People could say, I'm up here and I am pontificating about what ifs and maybes, or I'm exaggerating, or I'm being hyperbolic. I am not. If one of them gets stabbed or beaten half to death tomorrow, it will be because this is the way it went down.
And we need to remember why Tate is there. Andrew and Tristan are fighting extradition to Britain, where prosecutors have brought a combined 59 charges involving 7 alleged victims. The brothers deny every allegation and have not been convicted in this British case, but pretending this is just a minor paperwork problem is ridiculous. The accusations include alleged rape, assault, trafficking related offences, and, against Andrew, offences of involving indecent images. Their lawyers are due to request release, with a detention hearing scheduled for August 13. Britain has until September 16th to deliver its full extradition package. So Tate isn't currently serving a sentence after being found guilty. He is being detained while the United States considers Britain's extradition request. That distinction matters, but it also doesn't mean the entire case is fake simply because Tate keeps saying it is. Tate's lawyer's main argument is that the process itself has become the punishment, and honestly, that is a real concern in any case. Nobody should spend an unlimited amount of time locked away while the government repeatedly delays giving them a trial, but we are nowhere near an unlimited delay yet. Tate was arrested on July 18th. The next detention hearing is already scheduled. Britain has an established deadline to submit its extradition documents. You cannot take an early procedural stage and immediately announce they're planning to lock him away forever without evidence. That's Tate's team taking a genuine due process concern and stretching it into the most dramatic conspiracy possible, and they do this every single time. A normal court deadline becomes persecution, a restricting housing unit becomes psychological warfare, an extradition request becomes proof that an entire government fears Andrew Tate personally. At a certain point, the story becomes less about what's actually happening and more about making Tate look like a political prisoner. Tate has also published his own account of the conditions.
Andrew Tate is not happy right now, saying that in his special housing unit in solitary confinement, his water faucet is broken. He's not allowed bottles of water. He has nothing clean to drink. His only water comes from the shower, which has a brown and filthy faucet. He's had persistent stomach problems. The water he's drinking is not clean. He says he's an American, he's innocent until proven guilty, but he's forced to drink poisoned water. Where are my rights? A couple things here. Number one, he's experiencing what a lot of prisoners in the United States prison system experience.
He claims he received his permitted exercise time only twice across an entire week. He claims he spent several full days inside the cell without leaving. He also claims that he had no normal phone access, visits, or commissary, and complained about the water inside the unit. Those are serious allegations about jail conditions, but they are still Tate's allegations. We haven't seen an independent inspection proving every detail exactly as he described it, and Tate is possibly the least neutral narrator imaginable when the topic is Andrew Tate. This is a man who describes every inconvenience like he's writing the final chapter of a revolutionary autobiography. A broken tap isn't just a broken tap, it's the Matrix trying to poison the top G.
The situation is getting more interesting. I just got out of a court hearing, and they are still in detention right here. There is a press conference going on, and here is the latest. The latest is that the prosecution is arguing that they should be detained and that it actually should continue the way it is, and they should be in, solitary confinement units and 23 hours a day with criminals, murderers, and people who are supposedly a danger to the public. However, when the defense, and there are lawyers right here, when they were saying, could you please provide us with any proof, anything that the UK has provided, the defense is like, oh, we don't know, we don't have a full package. It might take 60 days for us to receive any kind of information and full package, and then the defense is going to receive it. So how they're even supposed to argue against their solitary confinement and detention, how they can go into a detention hearing, which is now scheduled for the 13th of August, without even the ability to see who's the accuser, what is the fucking proof, none of it. Today, they're like, oh, I don't know, I witnessed it with my own eyes. They said, oh, we don't, maybe within 60 days. That's it. This is all you need to know.
Tate supporters are also asking how his lawyers can properly fight detention when Britain has not yet delivered its complete extradition package. That sounds suspicious until you remember the final package is not overdue. Britain currently has until September the 16th to submit it. That's how the timetable was set. The fact Tate's lawyers do not yet have every document does not prove the documents don't exist. It means the extradition process is still at the paperwork stage. Now, should the defense receive enough information to challenge detention properly? Obviously. Should prosecutors be allowed to hide everything indefinitely? Obviously not. But Tate supporters are treating the paperwork deadline hasn't arrived yet like it means Britain admitted there's no evidence. Those are completely different statements.
Made it very clear this is personal for you. Tell me why.
Well, it is personal.
How does £20 million spread across schools across the country counteract someone like Andrew Tate? He has 11 million followers on X.
People like Andrew Tate are a real difficulty, and for teenage boys, they need to talk about that because it's very difficult for them to navigate their way.
Countering the damage he causes, is £20 million up to that challenge? He's on the same platform as your government pushes out communications. Yet what can you do about it?
But we can push out communications.
And they're spending billions trying to deprogram men from my programming of go to the gym. Scary. While they let grooming gangs, while they let criminals steal, while they let murderers, while they let immigrants arrive, all the problems of that country, everyone's talking about me. What is my chance of a fair trial in the UK when the Prime Minister is saying I'm the biggest problem for the country? Zero. That's why they tried to
And this is where Tate loses me completely. Instead of admitting that authorities might be pursuing him because of the actual criminal allegations, he says Britain is coming after him because he told young men to go to the gym. Bro, be serious. You can criticize government officials for publicly attacking him before a trial. You can question whether all that commentary risks damaging his chance of finding an unbiased jury. That is a legitimate discussion, but pretending the charges are secretly punishment for promoting exercise and confidence is insulting. Andrew Tate didn't become controversial because he told people to perform push-ups. He spent years publicly talking about how he recruited women, controlled business involving them, and manipulated relationships for money. Those statements do not automatically prove the criminal charges, but they absolutely explain why people don't believe his entire history was about harmless fitness advice.
Farmer, I heard you're in a little bit of trouble. I've got bad news for you because you're in a whole bunch more. I'm here in America and I've just been handed a document which proves that Morgan McSweeney, who was your chief of staff under the Labor government, was behind the entire attack that happened against me. It breaks international law. It completely breaks the presumption of innocence. It shows the corruption of the British state. It shows that you were afraid that I was inspiring bravery in young men, and when young men are brave, they will prevent the Labour government from enslaving the entire UK population. That is why you have insulted me every single day in the mainstream news. That is why you told the Romanians to lock me up, even though I never did anything wrong. That is why members of parliament to this day slander me every single day, because the primary objective is to attach heinous allegations to my name to the point where people are afraid to use my influence. They know I'm influential. I'm the most influential. So they want everybody afraid to associate with me.
Tate's favourite explanation is that British politicians are terrified of his influence, and it is a brilliant story for his audience. It has a powerful villain, it makes Tate the heroic victim, and it means he never has to seriously address anything. If authorities investigate him, they fear him. If they leave him alone, he defeated them. If somebody else avoided consequences, that proves the system is targeting Tate. If somebody else gets punished, that also proves the system is collapsing. There is no outcome where Tate can be wrong, and pointing towards unrelated powerful people who may have escaped accountability is not a defense. It might prove those people deserved investigation too. It tells you absolutely nothing about whether the evidence against Tate is strong or weak.
Things go wrong. I love when Bitcoin crashes. I love when I lose my money. I love getting arrested. I love going to jail. I love it. You're like, I want to go back. That's the true heartbreaking thing. I don't want to be on a private jet to Hong Kong. I want to go to jail. I want to go back to the jail cell with the cockroaches. And I want to sit there by myself, meditating. While the whole world lies about me, I want to sit there like this. I want to sit there for years. That's what I want to do. But unfortunately, I made so much fucking money, and I'm so fucking famous and so fucking smart and so many powerful friends, and now I'm floating on the surface. And I miss my old life. I miss the suffering. I miss the pain. And you're fucking...
And this clip has aged unbelievably. Tate previously bragged about loving jail. He said he missed suffering. He said he wanted to return to his cell and meditate while the world lied about him. Well, congratulations, brother. You got exactly what you requested. Except now that the cell is real, the water is supposedly filthy, the exercise limited, and nobody knows how long the extradition fight will last. Suddenly, it isn't quite as inspirational. It turns out jail sounds much cooler when you're describing it from a podcast DJ.
I'm good about the process going forward. I just want to make a brief recitation of events that has led up to where we're at today. There's a long-standing court order in effect in Romania, and that court order essentially, in purpose, stays the United Kingdom's extradition proceedings. This is how Andrew and Tate have been traveling across the world for the past several years. Every time they take a trip, every month they go back on the 21st or the 17th, whatever the Romanian court requires, and they have made their appearances. They have fulfilled the obligations at their judicial release in Romania to the letter of the law. They have never, ever missed a date. The agreement with Romania in the United Kingdom is for the United Kingdom to step back and let proceedings play out in Romania.
To be fair, Tate's lawyers do have one argument that actually makes sense. They say the brothers are not flight risks. When restrictions were loosened, Andrew and Tristan travelled internationally, but they repeatedly returned for required Romanian court appearances. According to the lawyers, they never missed one. That doesn't prove innocence, but it is relevant when deciding whether they can be released while the extradition case continues. Someone planning to disappear usually doesn't spend years repeatedly coming back to court. That is probably the strongest card Tate's team has, not another speech about the Matrix or frightened politicians. violations, and actual documented attendance history.
I'm currently outside the jail where Andrew Tate is being held. And dude, I don't see anybody here, bro. There's not a single... I mean, it is raining to be fair, but bro, not a single person with a sign or a protest or anything, guys. Look at this. I'm pretty sure that right up there, it's like one of these buildings. It's pouring rain, but nobody here.
But something else has clearly changed. During Tate's earlier legal problems, supporters organised protests and made enormous amounts of noise. This time, footage outside the jail showed almost nobody there. No massive crowd, no wall of supporters, barely any visible protest at all. Maybe the rain affected it. Maybe people are simply tired of another Tate legal saga. But the movement that once treated every arrest like a global revolution suddenly looks much quieter, and that has to be terrifying for somebody whose greatest weapon has always been public attention. And even from inside the most restricted unit in the building, the Andrew Tate machine is still running. His account continues posting, his lawyers continue doing interviews, every uncomfortable condition becomes political persecution, every court deadline becomes evidence of conspiracy, every accusation becomes proof that powerful people fear him. But none of that decides what happens next, the court does. On August 13th, a judge is expected to decide whether Andrew and Tristan remain detained or can be released while fighting extradition. The wider extradition process could take months, and the brothers continue to deny all wrongdoing. Tate's conditions could genuinely be awful, his safety concerns could genuinely be real, and he still deserves due process. But none of those things prove the charges were invented, and pretending this entire situation exists because Andrew told men to lift weights is complete nonsense. His lawyer says he isn't safe around the other inmates, the restricted unit may be the only thing protecting him, and until the court decides otherwise, the man who built his entire brand around being completely untouchable is stuck inside a 5x12 foot box. How times change.